Hey, it's Michelle coming to you with some kitchen inspiration. I'm making a creamy mushroom soup today. Thought I would share with you. I like to do meatless Mondays, so this is my version of meatless Monday this week. I've got my 8-quart Brilliance cookware stock pot out, and I'm gonna put some butter in it. First I need to turn it on. Whoops, I'm gonna put a couple tablespoons of butter in. Start getting that melted so I can saute my onions and my garlic. So I've got a nice big onion here, and I grab my 5-inch Santuco knife. Oops, prep that. All right, so I decided to use 3 different kinds of mushrooms today. I just wanted it to be really rich in flavor. So rather than using just plain old white mushrooms, I bought Baby Bella, which I always prefer anyway. I think Baby Bellas are the best kind. And then I bought these ones called oyster mushrooms, which I normally wouldn't eat, but they're good in a soup. And I always keep some dried shiitake mushrooms in my house. So I put these in water, so they've been soaking for like 18 hours because they really need to soak a long time to get soft enough to use. Otherwise, they will be crunchy in your food. So I just kind of left them on the counter and I give them a stir once in a while. So I'm using my food chopper. I'm gonna chop my onions pretty small. I like this because you can choose how big or small you want your onions. Whoops. Or any of your food, not just onions. And I'm going to kind of chop everything that goes in this soup today. I did not have a frustrating day today, but on a day when you have a frustrating day, this is an awesome tool to use because you can beat up dinner instead of whoever is frustrating you, whether that's your spouse or your kids or your dogs or your boss. Just beat up dinner. It gives you a little bit more patience. And then this was really good when my kids were little, you know, especially in that like terrible 2s, terrible 3s stage when they were just difficult. But now they're in their 20s, so they're a lot easier. All right, so we're gonna drop the onions in the pan and let that start cooking. Ooh, my eyes are watering. All right, and I've got some garlic. I've got a head of garlic. I'm gonna put about 4 cloves in here as soon as I figure out how to get it out of the bag. Usually I just poke a hole in the bag. My husband must have done it neatly. Okay. Take a couple cloves of garlic off. Woo, my eyes are watering. That's some strong onion. It's good. It'll give it a good flavor. My nose is going to start running, so I'm going to start sniffling. Put your garlic in here. Pull off your Barbie hairbrush. Give it a good squeeze. Use your Barbie hairbrush to remove your onion. There's the your garlic, excuse me. Told you I was gonna start sniffling. No, it's distracted me. I love this because you do not have to peel the garlic. Makes it so easy. Now, I can't eat heavy cream. I can only eat it in very small quantities. So, instead of using a heavy cream base on the soup, I am using the whey protein that was left over from when I made ricotta cheese. I always save that, pop it in the freezer, and then pull it out to do stuff like cream soups so that they can be creamy and I can still eat them. So we're going to put that in a minute. Put this garlic in here. All right, so I got the garlic and the onions in. Oh, sorry, my eyes. My poor eyes are freaking out. All right, I got a whole big bowl of mushrooms here. I am just going to chop them kind of coarsely. You don't want giant pieces of mushroom in your soup. You want them to look like mushrooms, but not, be the size they would be if you just sliced them. So that's why I am chopping them with a food chopper. You wouldn't do this on mushrooms if you're gonna do a salad or something like that, but they're fine for this kind of a thing. All right, I'm gonna give my onions a stir here. They're definitely working. They're working my eyes. Let's try chopping some of these other mushrooms while we're at it. It's this oyster mushroom, which I'm going to chop a little bit smaller because I want the flavor of it without really having to see it, because honestly, I don't like what it looks like. Kind of freaks me out. All right, I'm going to take some of these shiitakes that are, I'm going to use that shiitake juice too, like the water that it's been sitting in, because it's got a lot of really good flavor. There, so it chopped all three kinds of mushrooms, shiitake, oyster, baby bellas, without any issue. Okay. I'm sorry that I'm sniffling. So the other thing that's going to go in is I'm going to use some pearl barley. And if you've never bought pearl barley, you buy it by the rice in your store. Comes in a bag. And you've seen it in beef barley soup. It looks different than this when you actually use it in the soup, because it's going to puff up and kind of explode. It's kind of like rice in that way. I'm also going to put in some thyme. I'm actually going to put my ground thyme in right now because I like it when it toasts. I'm going to toast it a little bit. As we're toasting the garlic and the onion, I'm going to toast the thyme. It's going to give it a nice flavor. Of course, at the end, I'm going to add some salt and pepper to this. And then I've got this big batter bowl filled with whey. I'm going to show you what this is. This is what's left over from milk. When you make cheese out of milk, this is the thin liquid that's left over. It's actually a very thin liquid. It's high in protein, and it gives it a creamy texture without all the fat, which I can't eat. So I'm going to pour this in here. Oh, I'm going to pour it all over the place because I poured it over the top of my pot because I'm spastic. All right, so my whey's in. I'm going to drop in my mushrooms. I'm going to cut the rest of the mushrooms up in a minute. I'm going to put all those mushrooms in because I like it. Because I like them. I like it really mushroomy. I also have out some beef broth. You can use veggie broth if you want to make this a total vegetarian dish, but I heard beef broth open. So I'm going to use beef broth, and the reason I'm going to do that is because the pearl barley is going to collect a lot of the liquid, so I need to give it some liquid to collect, and this will have more flavor than just water. And then I'm going to top it off at the end with some sherry, probably about 1/4 cup. Just gives it a little bit more richness to the taste. And I'm going to serve this soup with some fresh hot bread. And that is basically my whole recipe. Thanks for joining me. Have a great evening.